How's it going, everyone? And I hope you guys are having a fantastic day so far. But now it's time to talk about some My Hero Academia. We are on episode 19 of season 2, and this episode is quite different than the last couple episodes we have been getting with the whole Stain arc. You know, that was very dark. We had Deku, Todoroki, and Ida going up against a very powerful and formidable villain. But with this episode, it definitely changed pace. The tone was a little bit different, and it kind of feels like an in-between for the transition from the Stain arc and then the new arc we're about to be going on. But of course, some of you probably already know this, but some actually might not. But this episode in particular is mostly, if not all, filler. None of the content that took place in this episode actually takes place in the manga. It might be hinted at in the manga, but everything in this episode is basically anime original. So that means there's no source material to go off for with this episode, but I still enjoyed this episode quite a lot and getting to see the nautical adventures of Froppy. I am really interested to hear and see how people respond to this episode. So definitely in the comments, leave your thoughts on what you guys thought about this particular episode. What do you think of, getting to see all of the other students basically going through their internships? We didn't get to see every student, but we got to see a majority of them, and I'm gonna go through them in a little bit, but I just really enjoyed how cute and just how happy this episode made me just watching. I had like a smile on my face the whole time as I was watching the adventures of Froppy out on the open sea. It was very enjoyable. But before we dive more into the adventures of Froppy, let's talk about the other hero internships that actually took place in this episode. And first we got to talk about Bakugo. I love the fact of how pissed he is while he's just on patrol with Best Genius. You see all the fangirls, fanning over Best Genius, and then we see Bakugo just completely lose it when these group of kids come up to him and they're like, hey, I know this guy. This is the guy that got captured by the villain, and he completely loses it. His hair goes from neat to the spiky way we know it to be and just flips out on these kids, and Best Genius is like, what am I gonna do with you, Bakugo? I absolutely love that moment. The whole Uraraka versus Gunhead knife fight I thought was very, very cool. And it's nice to see that Uraraka, or Ochako, is actually learning martial arts and hand-to-hand combat. I can definitely tell that she's going to get stronger with this internship, and I bet money that the knife technique that she is learning in this episode will come back later in a future episode, whether she's going up against a villain or anything. I am gonna put money on it that we will see that technique be in handy further on down the road. So moving on from Ochako, we actually had Momo and Kendo, and I feel really bad for these two because they are trying to do hero work. They want to go out on patrol and actually take down some villains, but every time they go out with their hero, which was Awabame, everyone is just fanning over her. They're just constantly crowds and people want to take pictures and autographs, and they're just like sitting there like, what? I don't want to be doing this. I want to be capturing villains. This is not what we signed up for. And they're just slowly losing hope on this whole internship process. So I really like that moment as well. The Kirishima and Tetsu is always fun to watch, getting to see them with Fourth Kind, actually doing community service, going to a local park and just picking out all of the local trash. Really fun moment as well. And we even get to see Jiro, Earphone Jack, actually, out of all the internships, I think she is probably getting the most done besides Froppy, where she's actually going out on patrol, saving hostages, and actually taking down villains, and actually is very useful with, her earphone jack being able to sense out a room, and once the hostages come out, she can escort them out while Death Arms basically goes in and takes out the villains. I love that. And out of all those internships we've seen, Jiro and Ochako, I think, are the ones so far that we've seen are actually getting the most out of their internships. So I really do like just getting to see a brief glimpse into those internships once again. But now let's talk about the main chunk that took place in this episode. Getting to see Froppy in her natural environment, out on the ocean, out on this boat, and actually being under an internship that is just so suitable for her quirk is really nice to see. And you can tell that she's definitely enjoying this internship. And the people that she's actually internship under is very cool as well. Like Sirius, the sidekick to the captain, who goes by the name of Selkie, who's like the Spotted Seal character. I'll just refer to him as Captain for right now. I really like these two characters. Like, Sirius actually was very cute in this episode, and I really like her quirk where she's able to hear sounds and frequencies that are unable to be heard with the human ear. And that's when the captain comes in, to where like he has this sonar ability to where he can like look out and actually try to figure out in the ocean where opponents or figures or objects are. And it comes in handy in this episode. I really like those two characters. I like the designs, but one thing that has to be mentioned, I think, before diving into everything else that happens in this episode is the kawaii type moments with the captain. Whenever he was like very serious and then immediately went to a cute face, like everyone else that like works under him is looking at him, is like, why are you doing this? Like, that is not cute. You're too muscular, you're too rugged. This is not cute. But yet, all the while, Sue this whole time is looking at him, is like, wow, that's really cute. I really like those moments, because if you also think about it, and this is just the way I'm able to process it, is that he is a giant seal and he works down at the docks, down at the ocean, and I bet there's a lot of field trips for kids, in schools, going down to the docks, to an aquarium, or to the ocean, and I bet you he has spent a lot of time basically around kids, and him just having those cute moments just makes sense to me. That's the way I'm able to view it. I bet people view it a lot differently, but I still enjoyed those moments, even though I'm just like, dude, why are you doing this? You should not be doing this right now. But the main arc or storyline for this episode is that Sue, Sirius, and the captain and the rest of his crew are looking for some stowaways that have taken some missing cargo out on a boat in the middle of the ocean. And I really do like the fact that Sue is actually getting some proper field work for her internship, compared to a lot of the other heroes that we've already been seeing, where they're just like angry or just like, this isn't what I signed up for. So I really do like that Sue is actually out in the ocean and actually getting some proper work from her internship. So the crew basically end up finding the stowaways. They end up finding this boat, to where the captain and two of his crew members end up getting captured by like the lackeys for this boss, this Davy Jones squid octopus-like character. And I really like this moment too, because even though he gets captured, I'm thinking to myself, why would a pro hero get captured? And I don't see this guy being like the top tier, kind of like All Might, Endeavor, Best Genius, but he's still a pro hero and could, get off guard from time to time. And even though he was captured, he was able to relay a message to Sirius, to where, she can pick up the sonar noise that he was making, and both Sirius, Sue, and Mick, the crew member, are able to, go out on their own, be able to find where this abandoned ship is, and they're actually able to confront the boss, Davy Jones type character. And this is where Sue actually shines and actually comes to learn about what it means to be a hero, because I like the conversation that takes place beforehand, where it's just Sirius and Sue talking about the internship, and how Sirius was like, at first I took this internship and it's like, this is not what I signed up for. But then going through it, she ended up learning about what it means to be a hero. And Sue kind of goes through that same path, the way that Sirius ended up finding it out on her own. And the way that I'm able to see the way that Sue sees how it means to be a hero is that you have to believe in yourself and your comrades when you are a hero, because even though that, yes, you are a pro hero, you also have sidekicks and other people working alongside you. So you got to believe in this, in yourself, the decisions you are making, but also have faith in your sidekicks and comrades while you're out on these missions fighting villains. And Sue does not buckle under the pressure, because back during USJ, she was already confronted with villains on a boat in the middle of a lake. So this is nothing new to her. So she immediately thinks it through, ends up, grabbing or pushing the button to where it relays the message through the radio frequency that where the location is, and she ends up putting up her best fight against the Davy Jones character and buys enough time for the captain to arrive. And I really like the fight too, even though it's very short, of the captain going up against Davy Jones. He ends up getting blinded by Davy Jones's ink power, but thanks to his sonar, he can see everything that is going on. So he ends up making quick work of that. They end up capturing him, and we have some nice moments going back and forth between the captain, Sirius, and Sue, and they end up taking all of the villains. They end up taking them back to land and handing them over to the police to actually put them under custody. And we have this really cute moment of this, everyone looking at Sue saying, you did a fantastic job. Even though you're only a student right now, this is an internship and you were not a registered hero, you were going to make a great hero someday. And we have this cute little panel, or I guess the cute little screenshots of just Sue smiling and, riveting. Very nice moment, and it kind of just ends the episode. But it's a very straightforward episode. It's a very happy episode. I wouldn't say this is very dark. It's just a very enjoyable episode. I found it enjoyable, but I'm very curious to hear what everyone else thought about this filler episode, because this is 100% filler, this episode. It's probably hinted at in the manga, but I believe that this was not actually in the manga specifically. So I want to hear your thoughts. Leave your thoughts down down in the comments below. What do you like about this episode? Who do you think out of all the internships we've seen besides Froppy in this episode is possibly getting the most out of their internship? We have Bakugo, we had Uraraka, we had Kirishima and Tetsu, Momo and Kendo, and Jiro. Out of those people, who do you think is getting the most out of their internship besides Froppy? Because Froppy got hell of a lot done on her internship. She ended up capturing a whole bunch of villains. So honestly, her internship is checked off as like very good internship. So I'm really looking forward to the next episode to dive more into the actual canon type content, because we're going to be learning about One for All very, very soon, and also the mission that All Might is hinting at for Deku right now. So I am very curious to see what we're going to be getting next episode. But until then, until we have episode 20 coming out next week, I'll talk with you guys later. And remember, plus ultra, guys. All right, see you later.